I'd like to call the order of the Common Council meeting for September 28th at 2021 at 6:08 p.m. Roll call.
Aldermans Madden.
Here.
Kabaki.
Here.
Engelhardt.
Here.
Kapusta.
Here.
Terrence.
Here.
Hamel.
Here.
Wolf. Wolf is absent. We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Statement of public notice.
This meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law.
Thank you. Public comment. This time, anyone who'd like to speak on anything on the agenda, you need to fill out a card. Hearing none. I don't see anyone, so we're going to move on.
I think he wants to see.
Did you?
I guess for the agenda, I didn't look at the whole cards, so.
So if you do want to speak, you can quickly fill out a card. I'll give you a minute to fill it out, and then you can come up. Here. I'll do communications from the mayor's office in the meantime. The newsletter should be coming out this week. It was submitted, I believe she submitted it yesterday, so which is pretty good. It's the October newsletter. It's going to be coming out the first week of October, so pretty happy about that. As I mentioned the previous meeting, the proposed mayor's budget has been given to you guys, so take your time to go through that. Construction projects, Hillendale has got the first base, it's got its base lifts down on it right now. We're looking at putting the final lift of asphalt down probably the end of this week, with the idea of having the road open by like the 12th-ish, depending on weather and restoration. They're starting in restoration on one end and just moving down the road. I know people have been complaining it's been taking so long, but actually the road really isn't that far behind schedule, and not bad considering the construction weather and everything we've had has been pretty ideal. So a couple things with utilities that we're still waiting, and that was the major, for all those watching or wondering what any of the delays we had, almost all of them had to do with utilities not getting out of the way, or when they did relocate, they never looked at the plans and didn't relocate them properly, which put a screeching halt on things. So Lake Meadows subdivision in the southwest part of the city. We are finishing up the roads in there. We had additional funds left in the road program, so we were able to complete the last two, say, run paths through the subdivision. The roads are milled down. They should be done on Friday, I believe. Is that correct? They're laying down that asphalt on Friday. And the Great Water Alliance, which is the Waukesha Water Project, which is tearing up a big part of the city. It's what it is. We don't get a whole lot of input on that. And hopefully they'll get their stuff done, get cleaned up and out of our city soon. So that completes communications from the mayor's office. Going back to public comment, Nick Wegner, please come to the microphone.
All right, my name's Nick Wegner. Reside on Hillendale Drive, West 208, South 8119, Hillendale Drive. Speaking in regards about rezoning, the parcel that's right next to us, I don't recall the ordinance number.
1463.
1463. It's looking at taking a 3/4 acre lot, basically changing it into rezoning for a 1/2 acre lot. What I had stressed before is part of my rights for hunting on my property and my land use of what I purchased my property for before. Looking at that as I'm basically losing my rights to my own property that I purchased. Also, what I did is just beyond that is the whole density thing we kind of talked about. So that caused me to start thinking about what's in that area. So I kind of looked out and I took out the big acre lots, like the parcel that's being developed. My parcel that's 6 acres, another parcel that's 6 acres, another parcel that's 3. And out of 31 lots, the average, without going exactly to the decimal points in that, is ranging anywhere from 8.1 to 1 acre lot out of 31 lots. So then all of a sudden I look at it and I say, well, we want to put 10 lots in that are 1/2 acre lots. You know, I said before, I'm not disapproving the subdivision, I'm disapproving the rezoning. You look across by Kimberly Estates, you look at that, it goes from 5/8 of an acre to 1.5 acres. And I didn't count the amount of lots there, but you can see geographically how that shows up and how it shows up on zoning. There's an app, you can easily see it, tells you per acre. You guys have it, I know, on the GIS website. And from what we talked about last time, that's what I decided to look forward into because this community means a lot to me. It means a lot to me for what I purchased and what I invested in 11 years ago. I brought my son up in this community. It's a great community. And I just look at where things are for other families and how our density are we, you know, what are we changing to, you know, there's other suburbs around. I don't have to go that route, but I just want you guys to take it in consideration, all that, as we make some decisions here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, moving on to consent agenda. Approval of the September 14th, 2021 Common Council minutes, Resolution 084-2021, authorized final distribution of tax increment districts 8 and 9 funds. Resolution 085-2021, establishing traffic regulations, no parking signs on Parkland Drive. Resolution 086-2021, establish parking regulations, stop signs on Ryan Drive. Resolution 087-2021, approval of a reduction of bond for Community Holdings LLC, the waters of Lake Danoon.
Move to approve and gross. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Moving on to new business, there is none. Unfinished business, ordinance 1463, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Muskego, Merrick/Russet Court, RS1 to RS2, second reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Wait, do you want to give does anyone need a quick synopsis on anything or?
Is there any specific questions, updates? I know last time we kind of covered a lot of the stuff, but
Right.
It was rezoning, as a reminder, from RS1, which is 30,000 square foot lots, to RS2, 20,000 square foot. The proposal of the development would include a new 10 lot subdivision with 1 outlot is the current proposed plan. Total development size is just under 7 acres. As far as comprehensive plan goes, the density is about 1.45 acres gross, and that does fall within the medium density, which is designated in that area currently.
Alderman Terrence, you said this.
Yeah, I kind of wanted the gentleman that spoke earlier, I did the same thing because when we looked at this last time, we talked about the area. I actually went a little further. There's 47 properties kind of in that area. Oh, I lost audio. And the average was 0.9 acres. So I had actually a higher number when you even go a little further. The reason why this was something that I looked into is because we just approved something in my district where we had a lot of people speak of density issues and wanting to make sure we're careful and protective. And I voted to approve the rezoning. And I think the difference that we saw up there was a lot of preserved area. We ended up units per acre being less than 1 unit per acre on that the proposed PDU that is still in the process. And there was a lot of preservation that happened. And so the smaller lot size was offset by the green space. Not seeing that out here, it's a smaller lot. I realize there's nothing to preserve. I get it. But I wouldn't be in favor of the change. I look at kind of as a city and we're trying to figure out where do we preserve those larger lots. It looks like it's to the west and to the south. That northeast section is more of the densely populated area that we have. And so there sort of is a line, and I know we're looking at reviewing the kind of the plan for the city, and we're going to have those discussions at some point. But for me, I kind of see this as being that area that we should look to protect. I know we don't have huge for or against on this one, but to me, it looks more like that area is already maintained that larger near acre lot size, and it would make sense to just leave it like that. So.
Any other comments or questions?
As it pertains to hunting privileges in the adjacent properties, if this were developed as is, Adam, how many homes could go in here?
I think the estimate was 8. I don't know if that's been substantiated. I think the design engineer mentioned at one time, or the applicant, that I think it was around 8.
So even with that, there'd still be an issue with being 300 feet from a home regardless of,
Yeah, I mean, because the width of a single lot isn't even that as perspective, and the 300 foot isn't, it's a radius. So keep in mind 300 feet on each side of a home, so it's not like just one direction, or 150 on each side to be, a total of 300. So even if you eliminate 1 or 2 lots in that northern area, it doesn't have a significant impact on the hunting difference. I won't say it won't have none, but it's probably not a huge significant difference, just because of that nature of that 300 feet being a pretty significant distance.
okay, thank you.
Is that based on distance from a residence or distance from a lot line?
Residents specifically, not an outbuilding, not a lot line. And when we ran the map that was handed out last meeting, that specifically looked at homes and not outbuildings or lot lines.
Now, the area to the west of this is land owned for landfill purposes, correct?
Yeah, it's not active landfill in the sense of they're not expanding, but they have pretty large buffers around a lot of their sites. So they own a ton of land and landfill around this area. But yeah, immediately west of here is just some open land, and then actual landfill even west of that further.
Okay, thank you.
Adam, what's the zoning of the properties that are adjacent, that are immediately in front of this one?
The 2 that are, so Russet Court is an unimproved right-of-way, so there's 2 lots that a new road would go next to. Those 2, I believe, are RS2. And so RS2 is what they're asking for. So you would pass 2 RS2 lots to get into this. In the area, there's a whole big mix of all different zoning districts. Nothing smaller than RS2, typically RS2, but there's a lot of RS1. There's some districts, if you go a little further out, they're even a little bit bigger. So there's a lot of different zoning districts if you really zoom out and take a look in this neighborhood. Nothing is smaller than RS2, though, I don't believe.
Any other questions?
Now, there are wetlands in this area that are non-developable, correct?
So there's, I don't know if the formal wetland delineation's been done. I believe it has, but there's a wetland complex you can kind of see in the north central part of the site. It's protected, or I should say governed by the DNR and ultimately the Army Corps of Engineers, possibly depending on the quality. So this proposal does propose trying to get DNR and or Army Corps approval to fill that wetland area. That's something that is up to the DNR to approve. As a city, we typically don't have authority over it per se, as it's a DNR thing. Certain amount of wetland fills allowed by right with the DNR with a very simple permit, and then over a certain size, they look at it a little more closely. Statewide wetland filling rules have gotten a little looser in the past 5 years or so. That doesn't mean you can just arbitrarily do it, but they would have to apply through the DNR to see if those lots would be fillable if the DNR allows them. That's 100% a DNR call. So this is obviously contingent upon those types of approvals. But yeah, and there's also a tiny little wetland pocket on the back of what's shown as Lot 7, more in the southwest corner, but it's a small enough complex that I don't think that would hinder anything.
Okay.
But the bigger thing is lots like 4 and 3. Lot 4 is almost completely encumbered by current wetland, but their proposal would be to try to get permission to fill it.
Okay. So the difference is between 8 to 10 lots, essentially.
Yeah, and I just don't want anyone to be held in that 8. It's a number we've been told, so could it be 7? Could it be whatever? I don't know, but yeah, 8-ish to 10.
All right, thank you.
Kimberly Estates was mentioned during the public comment. What's the zoning for Kimberly Estates?
I do not know off the top of my head. I could find out in a few minutes, but
I can look for those really quick, probably. Just get my bearings.
who finds it first? Is Kimberly at the southern end of Pasadena, right?
Yeah.
It's a planned development, the southern portion, and then as Pasadena goes north, there's a portion that's RS1, there's a portion that's RS2, and then when it goes into the, the separate disconnected portion of where there's more established homes, then it's an ERS1, which is kind of an outlier. But so, there's portions of RS2, RS1, and then, like I said, a portion of it's a planned development. Some of the planned development portion closest to Janesville has some duplexes on the very southern, so that's kind of an outlier also.
Okay. Alderman Terrence, you had mentioned the comprehensive plan in the 2022 is all we have on file right now. We will be looking at doing some updates relatively shortly for the 2035. I don't see this part having one of those tweaks that we're going to be doing for it. The existing, and for everyone else's knowledge, I've got it up here, the existing comprehensive plan for that area is medium development.
And the medium category is defined as anything between 1 unit per acre up to 2.99 units per acre. So obviously that's a big range. And they are within it proposed, but also is the existing zoning at the RS1. So they both would meet it.
I believe the developer also stated, and correct me if I'm wrong, that unless this goes to RS2, it financially can't be developed.
Yeah, that'd be a
I
question for them.
believe that's what the developer mentioned.
I've heard every developer say that for every piece of land, so it may be true, it may be not. I respect the developer a lot, but I'll be honest, that you hear that on everything. With the limited amount of land that's here, that very well may be true, but I don't know. Do you guys need something looked up, or?
No, we're just looking at the zoning map.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? You guys ready to vote? All right, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Madden,
Yes.
Alderman Kubaki,
Yes.
Alderman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Alderman Kapusta,
No.
Alderman Terrence,
No.
Alderman Hamel.
Yes.
4-3 passes.
Passes 4-2.
Yeah. Thank you. Give me a second to get back to the agenda. Review of committee reports. In front of you, you have the committee report or reports for finance, public works and safety, and finance from August 10th and 24th. License approvals, we have none. Voucher approval.
Motion to approve utility vouchers in the amount of $97,863.77.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
There are no tax vouchers. Motion to approve general fund vouchers in the amount of $751,990.26.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve wire transfers for debt service in the amount of $630,997.63.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve wire transfers for payable transmittals in the amount of $364,371.17.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
I jumped in.
All right.
Second.
City officials report. We have none. Communications and miscellaneous business as authorized by law. Are there any updates on any of the aldermanic liaisons?
Annual meeting for Little Muskego Lake District next Thursday, the 7th.
Is that in here?
Here,
All right. And there's the
7 p.m., I believe.
7th, you said?
On the 7th, yeah.
Any other updates? Hearing none, any future agenda items requests? Motion to adjourn would be in order.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? We're adjourned at 6:28. Thank you, everyone.